eventually it will happen for you. So many H's would help bring the calm to. Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Akoya. I make lifestyle, homemaking, motherhood videos here on YouTube. I post every week, so make sure you hit the bell and are subscribed down below so you get notified when my new videos are up. Today we are talking everything baby sleep. I'm going to be sharing a few of my favorite products, a few tips and tricks I've learned along the way. I am a mom of 3. Sleep is incredibly important. Not that we're getting that much of it, but I'm going to try to help you pick the right things for your family by sharing what worked well for me. But first, let's make a matcha. Okay, now that I've got my matcha in hand, let me show you the first thing that I absolutely loved with my last 2 babies. This is the Halo bassinet. Now, with my kids, I loved doing a combination of co-sleeping, like bed sharing style, and also in this bassinet. I have a different one that I will link below that's a little less pricey that also is great. This one I did actually love. There's multiple features on here. The vibrate feature I used quite a bit. I also used this light to help me see a little bit better at night. And so that was really great features for that. Other things I loved was this heating pad. I would stick this into the bed when I was feeding my newborn, like in the first month or 2. I'd put it in his bed to keep it warm and then pull it out so it'd be cozy when I put him back in instead of cold. I'm telling you guys, game changer for getting your baby to sleep better at night and to sleep in their own space instead of always being on you. I love cuddling. I love that bond, but sometimes you just need a little bit of space. You need to be able to get in a deep REM, whatever, and that worked so well for transitioning back into the bassinet. Now, this bassinet only worked for the first 3 months for us, and then my baby started rolling. And as soon as your baby starts rolling, a bassinet like this is not great. This one does have this locking feature, so then the edge doesn't go down as much. Although I love that it does unlock and you can put it all the way down and rest your arm over while you're sleeping. Spectacular, spectacular addition to this. But it doesn't work, past 3 months. So this is a pretty pricey bassinet to be getting. If I was on a really strict budget, which with my first and even my second, I really was. I borrowed the Halo with my second from a friend, but before that, I just had used a pack and play. And that ended up working better. I had originally tried a crib that was gifted to me at the end of my bedroom. That was awful. I was continually out of bed and then fully awake, and I had a really hard time falling back asleep, let alone getting my baby consoled and to fall asleep. So he ended up in the bed with us a lot, and I did not love that because I felt like he had to be between us since there was nothing on the side to keep him from rolling over, or I couldn't be quite on the edge of my bed to give more space. It was just really a difficult time for us, but by this 3rd kid, I've got it down. So I would say that if you can get your hands on a bassinet like the Halo secondhand, there's also some lower versions that don't have the vibrating thing on Amazon that are more affordable, and a different one I'll link below that I saw that I think would also be really great. But something for a bedside sleeper, if you want to do some kind of co-sleeping, is great, and it's definitely going to help you get more sleep. without being like fully awake. Another thing I absolutely loved is the Halo, no, not Halo, the Hatch. Ugh, so many H's with this. Is the Hatch sound machine. This has a nightlight built in. I love the rain sound on it. I have it set to the same volume of rain sound on 3 different settings, and then I can tap through and have like a brighter orange light and a softer orange light. So it was great for breastfeeding. When I needed to rearrange the bed, I could turn on bright to see everything, get it hooked up, dim so it was like just enough to see, and then I could turn it off once my eyes were more adjusted or I'm sleeping. So that was great for having a nightlight and sound machine in one, and I feel like the sound helps so much for myself to sleep better because it's quiets out some of the cars driving by or the sounds of my house. Even like the baby cooing and breathing can sometimes be too much as a new mom to allow you to like relax and not feel like they're awake, like they're actually sleeping, but they're just making all these noises. So I feel like a sound machine's great. And then it also helped so much when we transitioned around that 3 to 4 months into a pack and play is what we ended up doing. I feel like the crib, it's a waste of money. I'd rather do a pack and play that I can travel to and from, and they can have a safe sleep space anywhere and can be packed away as soon as they're done, because between that 1 and 2 mark, they're not as likely to sleep in it. Both of my kids, well, actually, my first could climb out of his crib by like, I think it was like 13 or 14 months. It was like a week or 2 after he learned to walk, he learned how to climb out of his crib. So that was no longer a safe option for us. But when I put him in the pack and play, he could not get out of that. And that gave us an additional like 3 months before he was climbing out of that. So a pack and play keeps them contained longer, I guess. And then we switched to a floor bed. But enough about that. We're talking about the first year. I'm just saying the pack and play is a little bit more affordable and a better investment. So let me show you mine and how I have it set up. We are in my closet. This is right near my bedroom, obviously. And I've got the 4 Moms Breeze play yard. I have a whole video showing you all the details about this. I love how fast it goes up and down. Although now, after having it for almost a whole year, I have noticed the X bars a little different than what I talked about in the video, have become more noticeable, and I did end up needing to add a mattress. I threw over the mattress a mattress protector and crib sheet to keep everything tight and not have gaps, and I'm finding that that works great and keeps my baby sleeping much longer. He was waking up quite often for a while there, and I realized it was because he could feel those bars in there. He just wasn't getting into a full sleep. And then I love the Serenoni Barefoot Dreams style little toddler blankets. So I have that one, and then I have this one, a little thinner version. Now these I would only suggest like 9 months plus. I mean, honestly, you know your baby best when they're not going to be like flicking it above their face. Before that though, I absolutely love, let's come back out here. I absolutely love a sleep sack. And I'd say from like 4 months on, pretty much once they're in their pack and play, here, let me set you down. Once they're in the pack and play, I find that that is fantastic. Before that, I did like to do a swaddle, like the stretchy bamboo-y swaddles from Solly Baby has some great ones. I don't know, Wildbird might have some. If they do, I'll leave the links down below. But just like a stretchy one to get them with their arms up for the first couple months, then transition to some kind of sleep bag with covered arms, because the cozier you can keep that baby, the longer they are going to sleep. That is the mistake I made with my first. Besides having the bed right beside me, like I don't know why I wasn't thinking about that, and then not keeping them warm enough. I was like, okay, 1 layer beyond what you're wearing. But as a postpartum mom, I had the night sweats and hot flashes for months. I was so incredibly hot, and my baby was absolutely frigid. I didn't realize how frigid, but Yeah, I was just really hot, unnormally hot, and he was cold, even though I was dressing him warmer than me. So just know if they're like really restless, that's why like the heating pad in between, like when they're out of the bed to keep it warm, an extra blanket, more coziness, sleep sack with arms, all those are great things for getting them to sleep longer. And then also, if you're a pacifier giving family, one for night with the glow. This one doesn't have a glow, but they make the ones, with the little glow on them. So amazing, especially when they get a little more active and they're losing their nook and then it's getting buried like in the crevice, or you're like, were you even sleeping there? Why is this by your feet? You can find it way faster in the dark. Okay, we're back in here because I actually have another sound machine in this room because this is the separate sleeping space now. This is also by Hatch. This is not my favorite one. I honestly would have another one of the ones with a little nightlight because I have a folding chair in here that I use to feed my baby now that he's almost 1, so that I'm not getting him, he gets too awoken. Is that the right word? Not sure. If I take him back to the bedroom, he'll be way too awake and see my husband, then he'll think it's time to like wrestle and not want to go back to bed. So I've been sitting in here, and I would have loved to have one with a nightlight. Although when I originally did this, I was like, I have this, so I'm going to use it because budgeting. And we all like a good budgeting queen here. So that is why I have that one. But upstairs in my toddler and my kindergartner's room, I have the other Hatch with the lights, and it says the time. And that one also saves the like power in it. So if your power would go out, then it will be still working for like 6 hours or something, which should take them through most of the night, or probably when the power goes out, the whole night. So that's a really great thing, and I love how it makes it really seamless when we're traveling to transition them from different spaces and just to signify it is in fact time to go to sleep. So other than that, that's pretty much all the things that I love for my baby. I would say if you are looking for something like a good spot for them to sleep during the day, or if you're like out in your living room, I did really like the Snuggle Me, and I feel like that fits in this Halo bassinet, which you can remove from this version. If you wanted it in a different area, I don't find that's necessary, but the Snuggle Me does fit in here. And if you have a baby with reflux, I find that's really nice to be able to set them in and keep their back a little more propped up so that they're not having as much spit up. Now, it's not recommended that they sleep in it, but it is really works well with the Halo for setting them in there. And I find if I'm like going to be doing an activity where I'm sitting right beside them, I don't mind if they're sleeping, but that would be up to you. I'm not recommending it. I'm just telling you my experience here. The last couple of things are not necessarily like sleeping blankets and sleep spaces, but some products that I find help bring the calm to our house. A few of those are a good book before bedtime, turning the lights down to dimness and warm light to signify bedtime. I like to take magnesium before bed, and also my older kids take magnesium. I feel like my baby gets a little bit of magnesium in my breast milk, but I normally do that between the like after supper, like the early bedtime, and the like dream feed, like not between 9 and 11 feed is when I'll take my magnesium. I feel like that really helps calm the nervous system. I also love lavender essential oils or other essential oils that can help with sleep. Specifically, I like Stress Away is a really good blend. And I'll use that on myself. And if I feel like my baby is really needing it, I'll sometimes put it on their clothes, like on their shirt, or you can put some of them if they're diluted correctly on their body. So just look into that. That's always an option. A bath before bed with a little bit of Epsom salt. I do not bathe my baby every day, but if you are going to do a bath, one with a little Epsom salt can be really soothing and relaxing and help to calm them. I think that's everything. It's really simple. Baby sleep is something that, ebbs and flows. Some nights you get a ton, some nights you don't get much, but we just all try our best, and remember, there's always tomorrow, and eventually they will sleep. All right, friends, so that's all I have on my list. So if you think I missed anything, I would love for you to comment that down below. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, and if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. It really supports me and the channel. Always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.